anything that has to do with technology creating opportunity for us, I find very enjoyable.
She was like, Jacqueline, if they play Getaway Car or Maroon, she's on crisis watch.
Hello, this is Eileen. The story of Disney's live-action Snow White remake has turned into one of Hollywood's most unexpected. Adding to the drama is the recent resolution of the actors' strike, which finally clears the path for studios like Disney to either push forward or rethink their strategies entirely. And at the heart of this firestorm is Rachel Zegler, the actress once celebrated as a rising amused star. With her breakout role in Wild Side Story and an impressive resume, Zegler seemed destined to join the ranks of beloved Disney icons. Modus was allowed back on stage, but failed the entire play. Every scene, a rebellious couple mistake against Mayor T. Rowdy Maney, 2006 studio, and 1992 McLive. In recognition, and got to sing more arcs with the original Wednesday. What was once excitement over her casting has morphed into widespread scrutiny with fan fests. The timings couldn't be more critical. For months, Hollywood's labor disputes frozen major projects. Now, with the actor strike resolved, studios like Disney are finalizing schedules and making tough calls. According to some reports, Snow White may be one of those decisions with rumors swirling about a potential recasting or even a quiet shelving of the project. Could the flood of online negativity or rethink its strategy? Or is it just another turn in the rumor mill? Reimagining a classic like Snow White was always going to be a tightrope walk. Change too much and fans feel betrayed. Change too little and critics label the effort lazy. Things really went off the rails, however, when Zegler's interviews began circulating. Labeling original film's prints as extremely. Many fans felt dismissed, as though Zegler had disregarded decades of affection for the original story. And while measured tone might have softened the blow, social media thrives on drama, and drama is what it got. That background was with an unrelenting. Even quieter fan from You Pick Chop, blooded with confit because it's gets even quieter films did it. Rather than diffusing the situation, each new clip of Zegler discussing the film seemed to fan the flames, doubling down on certain statements and injecting political commentary only needed more of the fan base. Now, the question lingers, can Snow White recover from this whirlwind of controversy? Or has the fairy tale?
When a creator has pitched you a great story and you've given them the ability to go out and tell that story, you've given them the resources, the money, the tools, the place to tell that story. That story.
Snow White's cultural storm, a beloved classic, under fire. Disney's latest live-action remake, Snow White, has gone from being a promising project to a full-blown cultural storm. The controversy started with Rachel Zegler casting, which fueled skepticism among fans. Many thought she wasn't the right fit for the iconic princess, but that was just the beginning. As the outrage grew, Snow White became a punching bag for fans frustrated with Disney's recent polarizing decisions. Remember the questionable CGI in The Little Mermaid? Fans are now demanding Disney preserve the innocence of its timeless story. Rumors are swirling, talks of re-canceled and a canceled theatrical release or even shelving the entire project. It's clear. And if that wasn't enough drama, Joe Rogan jumped into the mix, turning up the heat on his podcast. Rogan never one to mince words, criticized Zegler's tone-deaf political posts, and questioned how Disney could maintain its family-friendly image with such a polarizing lead. Millions heard his blunt critique. The divide is stark. On one side, Zegler's supporters praise her for modernizing outdated adult tales and speaking her mind. On the other, critics highlight the irony of a story about kindness and empathy being led by someone who seemingly either scoffs at the gentle charm of the original. The controversy is so massive that nobody's talking about the actual movie anymore. The new musical numbers, the elaborate sets, completely overshadowed. Instead, the spotlight is firmly fixed on the drama. Whether it's the backlash over transforming dwarfs into magical dwarves, or Disney's rumored scramble to avoid a box office. So the big question, can Snow White recover, or has the negativity dug a hole too deep for the movie to climb out of? If you're wondering how a promising remake spiraled into a cultural flashpoint, stick around. We'll explore the legacy of the 1937 Snow White classic, the bold, risky changes Disney attempted, and the massive zombie backlash that has left both the film and its star in an unflattering spotlight. But first, let's go back to the beginning. What made the original Snow White a cherished piece of cinema? And why was reimagining it always going to be risky? The timeless legacy of 1937's Snow White. Released in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs wasn't just Disney's first full-length animated feature. It was the first of its kind in Hollywood. This groundbreaking film blended music, magic, and a heartfelt story about innocence and true love triumphing over evil. From Snow White's gentle spirit to the dwarfs' lovable quirks, every detail captured imaginations worldwide. Songs like Hi Ho became instantly recognizable, and the evil queen's transformation into a cackling old hag haunted viewers in the best way. The film wasn't just a cartoon, it was a cultural phenomenon that seamlessly passed through generations, becoming a staple in childhood memory. The story's timeless charm lay in its simplicity: an innocent princess, a vain evil queen, and the power of genuine love. It was a classic fairy tale formula, enough peril to be exciting, but always infused with kindness and positivity. But even the most treasured classics aren't immune in today's modern era.
It's not designed right now to necessarily develop great leaders or to encourage more people to seek public office. It just is far more difficult. I've never been in it, but what I observe, it's far more difficult to run for office today than ever before.
Snow White, the challenge of reinventing a classic. Over the years, critics have increasingly pointed out perceived flaws in the 1937 Snow White classic. From Snow White's passive demeanor to the prince's almost non-existent role, societal expectations for female characters have evolved dramatically. Modern audiences now crave heroes and heroines with depth, self-determination, and complexity, qualities often missing from the fairy tale archetype. While some fans cherish the nostalgia of untarnished classics, others argue these stories must evolve to stay relevant in today's media landscape. Disney's history with live-action adaptations. While Mulan is a glamour story, it plagued delayed by the electronification display after analysis included, but Snow White occupies a unique and sacred space. This wasn't just another Disney classic, it was the first. It marked the beginning of Walt Disney's empire and remains especially dear to fans. Any attempt to modernize it comes with immense stakes, requiring filmmakers to walk a razor-thin line between respectful innovation and outright sacrilege. Stakes are even higher in today's hyper-connected world where platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube give fans an amplified voice, and whispers of nature changes Noah's plot began circulating a portion of the faith immediately. Here's the core dilemma every remake faces. Stay too close to the original and critics will call it pointless. Stray too far and fans will accuse you of disrespecting a treasured classic. Studios typically aim for a middle ground, blending nostalgic callbacks with modern updates to justify a remake. But when Disney cast Rachel Zegler and floated ideas like altering Snow White's motivations and reimagining the dwarves entirely, it became clear this wasn't a subtle reboot, it was a reinvention. The concept of updating an 85-year-old story isn't inherently wrong. In an era where female empowerment dominates the cultural conversation, reimagining Snow White as a leader rather than a dreamer might seem like a natural progression. The problem? Interviews and social media posts from the star gave the impression that the original film wasn't being honored, but or the internet's a PR with Frankenstein threw up 12 and felt that it hadn't really led up to it. Or feels that the repairing classic, the legacy of the original theme. So emphasize another talented time of times, promise the updates to reflect modern values, but it's another to criticize or diminish the original. To remember two goods, missing goods, and leave it. Meanwhile, the broader conversation about updating classic stories is more nuanced than ever. Diversity, representation, and deeper character arcs are important goals. There's a valid debate about giving Snow White more agency or rethinking the portrayal of the dwarfs to avoid harmful stereotypes. The real question isn't whether change is needed, but how to adapt these elements thoughtfully. Balancing respect for original charm with expectation. Some remakes have walked this tightrope successfully. Others have sparked a tidal wave of backlash, often driven by how the studio or lead actors handle public relations when marketing. This is the crossroads where Disney now stands with Snow White. Can they find a way to honor a legacy while making room for progress? Or will this remake become another case study in how not to handle a classic?